Hey everybody, it's Bruce again. We're up in Fort Kent. We're about as far from home in northern Maine as we can get without crossing over into Canada. And actually, right over those treetops, over on the other side of the river, you're in Canada. In fact, I just spoke to a couple of guys who stopped by our campsite driving a Class A motorhome. They looked like they were probably in their 60s, 70 maybe years old. Had a Class A motorhome, just stopped and was looking for a place to dump his RV later this week. They're both from Canada. One's from Quebec and one is from somewhere else in New Brunswick. But anyway, here we are. We're on site number 2 here at Fort Kent Riverside City Park. $20 a night. We like the boondock, but we couldn't pass this up. Electricity, water, sewer, so we can dump right here. Karen can take our shower, you know, a nice long hot shower like we don't usually do, and spend a couple days here. And besides that, today was 78 degrees up here. Wasn't a cloud in the sky until we put the solar oven out on the picnic table. It got up to about 250 degrees, cooking a pork loin and some vegetables, and what do you know? Clouds came in and they covered the sky all afternoon. So we transferred it into the convection oven. Sun came back out. Look at it, it's beautiful. So yeah, it's been gorgeous here today. Here we are on site 2. There's site 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They have 8 city sites here in Fort Kent. $20 a night. Obviously they don't do it to make any money. They just do it as a convenience to the public. And I'm sure to promote tourism because they're right off of Main Street. Up here is Main Street, and that's where we're headed now. We're gonna go walk up there and check out. There's a church right here on the corner, and a convenience store, gas station, what have you. We'll check out Main Street and see what we have to buy later. All right, I'm gonna pause this for now, and I'll get back to you in a bit. Okay, over here on the other side of the park, this is the Northern Forest Canoe Trail. Northern Forest Canoe Trail, Eastern Terminus. This is right adjacent to the boat launch. We're going to head down to the boat launch and look across the river just so you can get a look at across the river over on the Canadian land side. So that'll be next up. Okay, we're on the back side of the park. All we did was walk through the trees, and we're a couple of 100 yards from where we're camped. But out here in the background you see the St. John River. I'm gonna have to double check this when I get back there and look it up, but right over there, so that's Canada, is the boat launch, right at the base of the boat launch. And I'm sure, so obviously in the wintertime freezes over and you can walk over to Canada. And I think it was 1988, so the river is actually pretty low right now. I don't know if you can see how low it is, but there's a lot of dirt between the bottom of the ramp and down to the water. But I think it was 1988. The river rose, they had flooding at like 30 feet. And Main Street, which is, now I've turned around 180 degrees looking up into the park, and Main Street is right up there. The river rose, I think it was like 30 feet, and Main Street was underwater 3 or 4 feet. So it was pretty devastating up here, and it wasn't that long ago. You wouldn't think we'd get flooding like that nowadays with so many dams and other control ways on all of our waterways. But anyway, okay, there's Karen and Jesse going for a walk down to the bottom of the ramp. And all right, we'll check this out, and then we're going to head up to Main Street. This is the back of St. Louis Church. We're headed up to Main Street, and this is the back side of the church. So we're gonna walk up to Main Street, but I just thought I'd give you a view of how big this church is. I think it shows up more from the back side here. What I'm facing right over that way is where we just came from, along the banks of the St. John River, and where we're camped. So we're walking up Church Street towards Main Street. I think it's 36 Main Street is the address of this church. And I don't know if you can see it from here, the steeple, but it's just such a beautiful, ornate, old Catholic church. And like down back where we're from, Bit of Orchard, the parish has merged. It's closed a bunch of churches. This one has survived. It's still an active church, and it's also the parish headquarters. In fact, down, let's see, from here it would be south. It's actually like going southeast, but back that way on Route 1, so it would be south on Route 1. I forget the name of the church, but it's an abandoned church. The last time we were coming through, it was years ago, and they were trying to refurbish it, and they've actually made it into a cultural center, and it is beautiful. We didn't stop. It's about 5 miles down. We didn't stop and take video footage, but if you're ever up this way and you want to get a feel for the heritage in this area, you have to stop over there. All right, we'll head over to Main Street so you can see the front of the church. Okay, I'm in the parking lot on Main Street, 36 Main Street, I think it is. Maybe 26. Across the street from St. Louis Church. I'm sure it's St. Louis, but St. Louis Church here on Main Street. I don't know with the sun if you can see, but that steeple up there, where is it? Way up there, yeah, the steeple up there. It's not a solid steeple. It's made out of all sorts of ornate metalwork. It's not quite as big as St. Joseph Church back our way in Biddeford, but it's the big church in the area, and it's on the outside. It's a beautiful church, and you can see that it's been well maintained, and that's because it's one of the churches that has survived all of the consolidating and downsizing. So they've put money into this church, obviously, to maintain it. We are looking, okay, so that's Main Street right in front of us, all the traffic. And down that way is the Fort Kent Police Department. I don't know if today on this footage I'll get a shot of it, but we're only like a mile, maybe less than that, from the end of Route 1. So if you've ever been to the southern tip of Route 1 down in Key West, Florida, all the way at mile, whatever it is, what, 1,600 or 500? Mile 0, mile 1, is back this way, and of course there's a border crossing there over into Canada, the official border crossing, which is the federal, staffed by federal border patrol personnel, and the police department is also down there, and that's where you have to go to rent the RV site down in the camp. In fact, I was talking last night. The guy talked a lot. Karen said it was me, but it was him. Officer Pelletier, I forget his first name, but I got to talking to him, asked him if he knew Michael Dubois. Over 40 years ago, I went to the academy with a Michael Dubois from Fort Kent PD, and I figured maybe the family was still around here. I was asking him if there was still a Dubois family around, anybody that they knew. I'm sure that Michael Dubois was retired from the PD. But anyway, this guy's name was Pelletier. As it turns out, he recently worked, he spent several years down in Biddeford working at Southern Maine Medical Center for Mike Harriman, who's a retired state police detective. I think he retired as a sergeant. He worked for Mike Harriman. His girlfriend went to the University of New England. He lived on Roebuck Avenue in Saco, which is right around the corner from where we lived and raised our kids in Saco on Franklin Street. So yeah, small world. And it was good to talk to him, and he actually escorted us down. He wanted to show me a billboard in the police station of all of the former officers, and he thought he could find a picture of this Michael Dubois for me, but he wasn't able to. So anyway, I told him to stop by our campsite over the next couple of days, and we'd fire up a cup of coffee for him. So I haven't seen him yet. Not sure if he's maybe it's his days off. But anyway, all right. So that's St. Louis Church on Main Street in Fort Kent. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up with a preview of things to come. Here we are in the parking lot of the fire department. This is on Dufour Street, which leads down to the campsites, 8 campsites that the city has on the river. And it's right adjacent to the Fort Kent Blockhouse. It's an historic site. I'm sure it's a national historic site. But this is just a little miniature version in the parking lot of the fire department, in the corner of the parking lot. And right on the other side of these trees here, right on the other side is, so that's a little further down Main Street. We're going to head over there tomorrow. So that's a preview of things to come. We're going to go over and show you the real Fort Kent Blockhouse. And it was a fort. I think it was the Canadian-American War. What was it? Well, I'll double check on the history before we go over there, and I'll have that information when I upload the video from the blockhouse. So that is probably it for tonight. We're walking back to the campsites over there. We just made a loop out onto Main Street over to the church, and we're headed back there. And I'm hoping we have some ice cream in the freezer. That'd be a good snack for tonight. But anyway, I'll get this uploaded and talk to you probably tomorrow.